In this video, we will be learning how to graph cosine, which is very similar to graphing sine, like we learned the other day. We will also be doing amplitude changes with cosine, which we also do with sine, works the same way. And then we'll be adding in vertical shifts, which we'll do with both sine and cosine in this packet. So we're going to start by making a graph using our table of values, just like we did with sine, except now we're going to do cosine. Make sure that your calculator is set in degree mode. And then we're just going to tell the calculator to find all these cosine values. So I'm going to press cosine 0, and that's 1. Cosine of 45 is 0.7. Cosine of 90 is 0. Cosine of 135. So you might feel like we're getting a lot of the same numbers. Cosine of 80 is -1, as we did with sine. In fact, we're getting all the exact same values, but we're not getting them in the same positions. And that's the only difference between cosine and sine. It's the same numbers, it's just the pattern falls sort of in a different location. So now if I go to the table and I graph these, 0 goes with 1. 45, remember our 45 marks, all of those 5 marks were in between. So this is 45, 135, 225, 315. 0 goes with 1. 45 goes with 0.7. 0.5 would be about there. 90 goes with 0. 135 goes with -0.7. 180 with -1. 225, back to 0, 0.7, and 1. And if I connect these dots, you'll notice that it looks similar to sine, but it's a little bit different. When we graphed sine, sine started here and went up like this. So it's similar, but it looks different. In fact, if we were to continue the pattern backwards and keep going, now you can see that sine curve, but it's been shifted, okay? So this pattern does continue. It doesn't have to stop. We just stop because it keeps going forever and ever and ever. But your cosine function from start to finish from 0 to 360 looks like this. So I like to say it starts high and then comes down and around, where sine starts in the middle and goes up and around. The characteristics are all the same. You have the same characteristics. In fact, their answers are even going to be the same. For example, the period is the length on the x-axis for one complete cycle. So one complete cycle is still from 0 to 360. So that would be 360 degrees. Excuse me. The midline, the middle points are still at 0. The amplitude is still the distance from the midline to the peak, or the midline to the valley. That is 1 for cosine. We'll change that value if we put a number in front. All graphs have a domain and range, just like before. Domain is still all real numbers. That's left and right. It keeps going left and right forever. It does not go up and down forever, though. It is bounded at from -1 to 1. But we will see some changes here as we put in vertical shifts.